So I've watched the new Mortal Kombat 2021 movie twice, and I have some mixed feelings about it. But if you don't want to listen to spoilers, you should click off of this video right now until you've seen the movie, and then click back on it because this is going to be your last warning. We're good? Alright. So, I've seen this movie twice already. The first time I was like really confused what's really supposed to be going on, and it was kind of hard to take this movie seriously. I mean, I think what really killed the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie for me was the main protagonist, Cole Young. I mean, I wasn't really sure who he was, or I didn't really like his development, and his superpowers really seemed kind of cheesy. I mean, it was like a high-tech defensive piece of armor that could counterattack. I mean, it really didn't feel like anything threatening, and I was supposed to believe that this guy is the main hero of the story to continue. I mean, it was just very strange. I mean, why not just cast a character that was already well known, like Johnny Cage, who was missing from the entire movie, but he was teased in the sequel. I mean, I can understand from a business perspective why they've done this, because they want to just keep continuing the franchise and then teasing new characters along the way, maybe new scenarios like Outworld. And that's another thing too. Where was Mortal Kombat in this movie? It was just pre-Mortal Kombat. It was the whole plot of the story was just Shang Tsung trying to kill all of Earth's champions before Mortal Kombat begins. And it was even harder to take Shang Tsung seriously. I mean, his whole crew looked so cartoony, and it was so hard to take them seriously. Like the guy with the hammer. I haven't even played the video game since like Mortal Kombat 4, so I'm not like familiar with these new characters. But the guy with the hammer, I think his name was General Reiko or whatever, and the Nahara with the wings. I mean, it just looked so fake and cartoony that I don't know. And the first time we even introduced the Shang Tsung, like, you didn't even know who he was. It kind of looks like this guy in a like suit and just shouting out orders. I was like, who the heck is this guy? I mean, the whole movie was like just, well, let me put it this way. If you like action and all the fight scenes, then maybe this movie is for you. But if you want storyline development and like a coherent pace, then this movie's not going to be for you. But I didn't like how the story was presented in Mortal Kombat 2021, especially the main protagonist. I mean, I think I've said enough about him, but there were some good parts of the movie. I liked the fight scenes, although at times, like especially during the end, it was really hard to concentrate on like which fight scene was going on at once, because there was just so many going on between like Sonya versus Kano, and Liu Kang versus Cabal, and Cole versus Melina, which was another thing too. Like, Cole couldn't even finish off Melina. He had to rely on Sonya, who just got her powers, to finish Melina off. So it was just really hard to focus on the entire movie. But I think the real MVP of the movie was Kano. Kano really provided a lot of comic relief throughout the movie, and a lot of it would have been boring without him. So I really give props to that actor who played Kano. He really like spoke his mind on certain scenes and gave it humor. But on other parts too, there was like a lot of references to pop culture that just kind of stale over a while. Like, oh, this is some Harry Potter magic, or Gandalf, what are you gonna do next? I mean, you could say it like once, but to keep referencing pop culture over and over, that's kind of like, it loses its effect after a while. So that's kind of one criticism I had about it. But there was a lot of references to like fan service throughout the movie. Like, I like the Kano wins and fatality and flawless victory. That kind of stuff wasn't too overpowering. That was cool. And one of my favorite scenes from the movie was when Kano got leg swept by Liu Kang like 3-4 times in a row. That was a reference in the to the video games where you use the cheesy spamming leg kick move. I think like Mortal Kombat 1 through 4 had that leg sweeping move that I even used to beat the computer, and some people who got invited over to my home to play Mortal Kombat, I used that a lot. But what they didn't reference was all the flipping they did in the video games, like flipping to the corner and then kicking. That would have been fun to see a reference to that, but you can't really ask for that kind of stuff. It's even hard to flip around. But yeah, this Mortal Kombat 2021 movie, it was a good movie, but poor storyline, and I don't really know how they could save Cole for being a main hero or main protagonist in the future. I'd like to see what they do with that. So that was kind of cool. But one thing I had to really think about was like one fight scene that was really memorable throughout the movie, because I had to really think a hard time about it. Whereas the first Mortal Kombat movie back in the 90s, I could say like, oh, I really liked Scorpion versus Johnny Cage, or Reptile versus Liu Kang because of the high music, which is another thing I'll get to in a point, the soundtrack, which I had a really hard time with. But yeah, there really wasn't a fight scene I found memorable. Even the last one, which was anticipated from the beginning, Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, and ended up being Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, Scorpion and Cole versus Sub-Zero. So that was like, where did that come from? It should have just been Scorpion versus Sub-Zero. But I think my favorite fight had to be Scorpion versus Sub-Zero in the beginning, when they were both Hanzo Hasashi and Bihan. I think that was kind of cool, because that was kind of like more traditional and not really too like out there. And then my second favorite fight was Reptile, where Sonya, Jax, and Cole had to fight against Reptile to kill him. And it was kind of neat to see how they had to be creative in their abilities to knock that guy out. But yeah, back to the soundtrack. The soundtrack was so bad in this movie. I mean, I really didn't feel like hyped for like most of the movie, like the first 90s movie was. Like that first movie had like the techno music going on, and it just got you really into the action, like Mortal Kombat. And then you got the techno music playing and all the fighters like hyped up. But this one is kind of like they had like weird trumpets playing at random times. Like we're supposed to be like eager to see a fight when that kind of soundtrack is playing. I'm like, what? The only kind of like reference to the original Mortal Kombat theme back from the 90s, which was I was looking very forward to, was at the very end, the Scorpion versus Sub-Zero battle, and that was actually a pretty good remix, but the rest of the soundtrack was very poor. But yeah, that's my review and talk about the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie. I enjoyed it, but I probably wouldn't really be watching it again unless like the sequel builds upon the story some more. Like I really felt it was lacking, and it was really cartoony, especially like with the Outworld fighters. It was really hard to take them seriously. But yeah, so my rating of this movie, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I mean, it's an okay movie, but I really like the original Mortal Kombat a lot more than this one. But still, the 2021 movie is at least better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which was the sequel to the original movie. That one was just terrible. But yeah, if you enjoy this video, give me a like, and I'll see you next time. Bye.